Hi everyone, welcome back. This is the final episode and really the farewell for season 1 of Imaginal Goo. It's been quite the journey, quite the season. And I wanted to do something really special because I think it's really important to shine a light again on people who we don't always know about, hear about, or are just unsung heroes in a lot of ways. And I couldn't think of anyone more perfect than my producer for the show, Emily. And I wanted to just kind of take a moment to reflect together because what a wild year it has been. And also I just wanted to take the opportunity to just thank you. Emily, you have literally stuck by me and the random projects or just creative passions that I've had since Inner Shoes days. And I think the fact that we're now here and that I get to sit in this chair across from you is so special for me, and I get to learn from you constantly. So just thank you for saying yes. And I want our audience and our listeners to learn more about you. So I'd love to take some time to, I'd love to have you introduce yourself and a little bit about your work, your passions, and then what had you say yes to Imaginal Goo.
Okay, so I'm a creative based in LA, so I do anything from like photo, video, or anything Judith asks of me, so it's always a learning process. I went to film school, so I did a lot of film stuff for that, and then I'm also an editor, so like video editing is also my thing.
I've always appreciated that you for me are an example of what's possible when you just choose to be creative and like live it out loud. Because I think for me, I always admire that in you of anything that I ask of you, from you, for you, that has to do with anything related to creativity, let alone its intersection with like technology, you're just always game. And I think that that's so special. And also such a skill set and a talent. So I'd love to take some time where maybe you and I could just think and reflect about this passion project that we've co-created together for this whole season. I never in a million years thought I'd ever start a podcast. And yet here I was calling you, I think in January earlier this year, saying, so there's this thing that I think I want to do. And you just said yes right away. You were so game. So I'm curious, what had you say yes, other than me bugging you all the time to say yes?
I think it's funny because it's like full circle moment, but the first time we met, you were doing a podcast. You were a guest on someone else's podcast, and I was shooting B-roll. So like, I think podcast for you wasn't something new, but I guess taking on filming a podcast is something new, but it's like a fun challenge. Like I wanted something than like my everyday life, which was like just editing. So like, I like learning new things, like finding the mics that we use, the lighting, everything, camera. So of course, I feel like anything you ask me, I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm down.
And I'm eternally grateful for that. I feel like I've learned so much about myself in this whole process. This was a passion project that I think was really born out of my master's program, because I remember when I was still in school and you and I had obviously kept in touch, something about getting my master's, which its focus was on business management, but also digital media. And I realized that something in that process where I kind of was surprised by is that I had somehow in the thick of it lost my own voice. And what I mean by that is I felt like I did a lot of self-censoring, and it's not tied to any particular like event or thing or because of school necessarily, but I think as I think about my life and how I've evolved from In Her Shoes founder and CEO in the day-to-day, which is how you and I first met, funny enough, through a podcast, to now, I think I kind of lost sight of my voice and what I wanted to use my voice for. And so this really became a passion project of wanting to claim that voice again. And I couldn't think of anyone better to help me do that than you. And so I'm curious, like, what have you maybe learned about yourself in this process? Even if it is maybe technical stuff, but I'm just curious if you learned anything.
I guess a lot of it is technical, like what editing software is the best. Like we went from editing inside Riverside, but then I learned that it was too buggy to edit, so I just switched back to Premiere because it just works, and it just works the best. So I learned a lot of technical stuff. Yeah.
I feel like, if I may, I'd love to share what I feel like I've seen in you. I feel like I've seen you grow from every episode. I think it's been really cool to see you interact with each guest differently, but also the technical stuff and the mechanics can be the same, but the story that we tell is so different and unique because it's just as unique and different as each person. So I feel like I've watched you grow and evolve and be able to pivot so quickly, and I think that's such a skill set that not a lot of people have. And I think you really honor every story with like a sense of grace. That's really important when we're sharing people's intimate moments, right? Like, I can't count how many times you've seen me cry in this chair. Like, probably every episode. And so it's been really cool to watch you grow in that way, aside from just the mechanics of like what it takes to, yes, build a podcast. But I think it takes a certain kind of person to build a podcast too.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
That's so nice.
No, of course. I'm just saying the truth. Okay, one of the last things that I wanted to ask you is, what are you excited about for season 2 that our listeners can kind of tune into or maybe just get excited for themselves?
Season 2 is going to be a lot better production, more guests, and what else do we have?
We have a few surprises in store, which our very loyal followers, I think, will get the first scoop of. But let's just say that Emily and I like to challenge ourselves. So there'll be a lot of fun new surprises, but it's all really rooted, I think, in like community and like storytelling, which will be cool.
Very excited.
Yeah. Well, I think that's really it. I just wanted to take some time for our community to be able to hear from you. And I think it's so important for people to get to know the faces behind the camera or like behind the scenes who do the real work, because that's just so important. And for all of our listeners who tune in, I'm just so grateful that you took the time, whatever amount of time it was at whatever point this year, to just tune in to this passion project of mine, of ours, because this wouldn't exist without you. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of the Goo, you too, Emily, because there's so much more where that came from in all the best ways. So thanks so much for a magical season 1, and we'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.